Enes Kanter freedom. Good job. Good job. Out there sending a message. They came after Enes before the game, walking in. It got ugly.
Bitch ass nigga. Bitch ass out of Chicago.
Seriously? Look at this. Look at this scumbag with his little kid. With his little kid.
Bitch ass nigga.
Wow.
Bitch ass out of Chicago.
Enes Kanter had barely taken his courtside seat when the WNBA arena turned into a battlefield. Security rushed toward him. Fans jumped to their feet. Boos and cheers collided as cameras captured every second. Then Kanter raised the controversial shirt. In that instant, the basketball game almost disappeared. This was no longer about basketball. It was a clash over women's sports, identity, free speech, and the culture war exploding around the WNBA. Kanter knew exactly what kind of reaction his appearance could trigger, and the arena gave him one. But then things escalated. Security surrounded Kanter, and before long, he was escorted away in front of a stunned crowd. And that's when the real battle began. Because the question was no longer why was Kanter there? It was how far would the WNBA go to silence a controversy inside its own arena? One courtside appearance had turned into a full-blown showdown, and everyone was watching.
And right before the break,
Let's check it out right there. There's Natasha Cloud showing her ass, pointing. Oh, she's mad. Let's let more swinging dicks in the league. Right there. there she is. Showing her ass, center of attention. Me. The two biggest me players in the league are Natasha Cloud and Dejanay Carey.
The confrontation didn't begin when Enes Kanter was removed. It began when Enes Kanter started talking. While watching the Chicago sky, Kanter began criticizing the action, repeatedly calling out what he believed were traveling violations. Normally, that would be nothing. But Kanter wasn't just another fan. He was a former NBA player who had already entered the WNBA's most controversial debates, and everyone knew it. Then the temperature inside the arena changed. Players moved toward Kanter's side. The crowd erupted. Cameras turned toward the growing confrontation. The invisible line between fan and player was suddenly disappearing. And once security stepped in, the situation exploded. Kanter was surrounded. The noise grew louder. Fans stood and watched as the former NBA center was escorted away. But removing Kanter from the arena didn't end the battle. It started a bigger one. Because the WNBA could control what happened inside the building, but it couldn't control what happened when the footage hit the internet. Within moments, Kanter had gone from courtside spectator to the center of a viral WNBA showdown. And the real war was now happening outside the arena.
first personal.
Right here. Oh, Dejanay's mad. She's mad. She trying to do the Caitlin's flopping thing because if Dejanay's not showing her ass, she's not doing anything. Let's be real. She's not doing anything. Back down the court.
And a little bit of passion.
Trying to bump Caitlin Clark right there.
And a little bit of passion afterwards.
I mean, wow. Wow.
Enes Kanter's biggest weapon that night wasn't physical. It was psychological. Kanter understood that a few words from the sideline could create more attention than an entire basketball game. For the players, the court was their workplace. For Kanter, the sideline was a platform to make a statement. That difference created a collision between two completely different perspectives. Kanter saw himself as a spectator exercising his voice. The players could see him as someone deliberately stepping into their professional environment. And that distinction mattered. Professional athletes hear criticism constantly, boos, insults, commentators questioning their decisions, and endless attacks on social media. But Kanter wasn't just another fan yelling from the stands. He had a history of political activism, controversy, and public statements about the WNBA that made every interaction more explosive. The situation exposed one of professional sports' oldest problems. Where does fan participation end and personal confrontation begin?
Kanter talked.
He criticized plays. He attracted attention. And eventually, the entire arena became part of the confrontation. His appearance wasn't random. Kanter arrived with a message, an audience already waiting for controversy, and cameras ready to capture every moment. Then came the twist. When Kanter was removed, the removal itself became part of the spectacle. The more dramatic the exit became, the more attention Kanter received. And that was the paradox. Trying to shut down the controversy didn't kill the story. It amplified it. Kanter entered the arena as a controversial spectator, but by the time he left, he had become the headline of the entire night.
Michaela Timpson, that was nice. That was real nice. Right here, let's go. Right here, step back, long three, boom, knocked it down. Knocked it down. Let's go, 7 3-pointer of the game.
Clark goes for 30.
Boom, knocked it down. Caitlin Clark just...
This is where the Enes Kanter situation becomes bigger than one arena. Professional sports leagues live on attention. Attention creates television audiences. Television audiences create advertising value. The controversy creates discussion. And discussion creates clips that travel far beyond the arena. Enes Kanter understood that equation. Whether viewers supported Enes Kanter or opposed Enes Kanter, people were suddenly talking about Enes Kanter. That is an uncomfortable reality for any sports organization. The league can remove a person from the building. The league cannot remove the conversation from the internet. The Chicago Sky can continue playing basketball. The WNBA can continue its season. But the Enes Kanter confrontation can continue circulating long after the final buzzer. That creates a complicated business problem. If the league ignores Enes Kanter, the controversy can grow. If the league confronts Enes Kanter, the confrontation itself can become even bigger. And if the players respond emotionally, the story becomes even more personal. That is why the psychological element matters so much. Enes Kanter had created an environment where almost every possible response benefited the story. If nobody reacted, Kanter could continue talking. If players reacted, the confrontation became viral. If security removed him, the removal became the headline. And if the crowd erupted, the atmosphere became part of the footage. That is a difficult position for any league. The future consequence could therefore be less about Enes Kanter specifically and more about arena policy. WNBA teams have to decide where the line exists between passionate fan behavior and disruptive behavior. They have to decide what constitutes harassment. They have to decide how players should respond when spectators deliberately provoke them. And they have to decide whether high-profile controversial personalities deserve different security protocols because their presence can instantly create chaos. Enes Kanter has now demonstrated how powerful that formula can be. Walk into the arena, wear a controversial message, speak directly toward the court, attract the attention of players, create a confrontation, get removed, and suddenly, millions of people who weren't watching the game are watching the controversy. That is why this night could have consequences beyond Enes Kanter. The WNBA is growing. Its audiences are growing. Its players are becoming bigger public personalities. And with that growth comes a new problem. The bigger the league becomes, the more attractive its arenas become as stages for cultural confrontation. Enes Kanter discovered that stage. And the WNBA discovered how quickly one spectator can turn a basketball game into a national argument. The final irony is that removing Enes Kanter may have accomplished the opposite of what security intended. Instead of ending the conversation, the removal gave the conversation its most powerful image. Enes Kanter being surrounded. Enes Kanter holding up his shirt. The crowd roaring. Security escorting him away. And thousands of people watching the entire thing unfold. That is not just a basketball moment. That is modern sports culture in its most combustible form. Was removing Enes Kanter the right decision? Or did the WNBA accidentally give Enes Kanter exactly the viral moment he wanted?